The year was 1995. I was a fifth grader at Greenwood Middle School. Now, I am so old that Greenwood Middle School literally does not exist anymore, so that's how old I am. And as a fifth grader, I lived and I went to school. I was excited to go to school for one thing, and I'm sorry to say that wasn't learning English, math, science, history, or reading. I wanted to go to school to play intramural flag football because that was my dream, to be a football player for the New Orleans Saints at the time. And as intramural flag football, I wasn't very good. I wasn't very athletic, so they normally had me as the center, so I would snap the ball. And then on defense, I had to rush the quarterback, and he was always faster than me, and I could never really catch him. Well, I remember we were in the playoffs. That's right, fifth grade flag football had playoffs. And we were in the playoffs, and we were down by a couple of points, and we were on defense, and the ball was snapped. I started to run and tried to catch the quarterback, and he kept eluding and dodging me and all these different things. And I kind of got him pinned up against the sideline, and I saw him cock his arm back to make a throw. And then I just lunged and I dove for his flag. I closed my eyes and I just kind of like stretched my hand out. And I rolled on the ground, and then I just, in a moment of hopeful, triumphant victory, I held my hand up, and miraculously, the flag was in my hand. I felt amazing. I felt like I was the man that had so much glory. I rolled over, got up, winked at the cute girl that I had a crush on in fifth grade, and I thought, this has made my year. This has made my life. I can die a happy man now. I have sacked the quarterback. Glory fades because the next series I was on offense and they threw me the ball in the end zone and I dropped the touchdown pass. Glory comes and glory goes. The truth is we can feel like we're on top of the world one moment and we can feel like the world is underneath us or the world is on top of us the next moment. My brothers and sisters, our gospel today is all about glory, right? It's all about Jesus' glory. God bestowing glory upon Jesus. I think we have to remember that this gospel passage is right before his passion. Literally, Judas just left to go and betray him, and he's about to suffer and die. That's what it is. And he's telling his disciples about his glory, and he's giving them specific instructions. On Wednesday, I was at our men's club meeting, and this is how old Cajun men show their glory. They tell stories, normally fishing stories is the way it is. So one of the old Cajun men said, man, back in my day, I went and I had this tiller, and I was going, and I was glad my dad told me to put a safety chain on there because I hit something, and the motor literally came off the transom and into the water, and he was still running the boat with the motor in the water. That was his glory, that he was able to get that motor back on the thing. And I responded by saying, well, you know, when I was in my dad's Carolina skiff, at one point, I actually got thrown out of it doing 25 miles an hour. That was a painful, glorious moment, I should say, in that way. We've all experienced glory, but the truth is, if we want glory that doesn't fade, if we want everlasting glory like Christ, then we have to follow the instructions that he gave us today. Love one another as I have loved you. We've heard that many times in scriptures, actually. We heard it in the book of the prophet Isaiah. You can say the 10 commandments are really that as well, right? First 3 commandments are how we interact with God. The last 7 are how we interact with each other, right? That's how we show God's glory. But there's something different about what he's saying now. He's saying, love others as I have loved you. And what does that specifically mean? As I have loved you, am about to love you, and will love you, and dying on the cross, and being raised from the dead, and ascending to the Father, and sitting at the right hand of the Father. That's how he will show his glory, and that's how he asks us to partake in that glory as well. And that's a hard commandment to follow, right? You can't love like Jesus loves. Most of us won't throw a pass as far as Brett Favre, or won't be as good of a quarterback as Drew Brees, or won't be able to do all these different talents. But the truth is, we're still asked to partake in it. I'm not the best football player in the world, but I still partake in it to the best of my abilities. So we're called to sacrifice because that's what Jesus is about to do for us. That's what he does do for us, and that's what he continues to do for us. And we're called to forgive one another, and we're called to love people no matter what the circumstances. I heard this quote the other day, and I thought it was very fitting for this homily. You really knew the true character of a person the way they treat you when they don't need anything from you. That's a very fitting quote, because I think sometimes it's easy to like people when we need them to do something for us. So it's easy to like people when they are doing something for us or we're doing something for them. It's a lot more difficult to like people when there's no strings attached. That's where true charity lies. That's where God calls us to, ultimately in the end. Why? Because he does something for us without really needing anything from us. He doesn't need us to say yes to him. He doesn't need us to have faith. He is God. He can do whatever he wants. But the truth is, he asks us to partake in his glory. Well, my brothers and sisters that are graduating very soon, what you are wearing right now is a symbol of the glory that you have manifested over the last 12 years. And I hope you understand that it may pass, it may fade, and it may be something you remember forever. The glory that you have right now is something that we want to celebrate with you, something that we are honored to, because I hope you know that it doesn't take just one person to graduate from high school. It takes an entire family, it takes an entire community. Because you didn't just graduate from high school. Teachers that are probably sitting here in this congregation right now helped to train you. The principals that are in this room right now helped to make sure that you had a safe environment and safe places to go. The people in this community have supported you. And so hopefully you can share the glory that you are receiving on Wednesday with the rest of the community. That's why many people graduate at the same time, and it's not just something that's individual. That's why it's good to show up to graduation and to know that the people around you love you and support you. Always know of our love, and always know that we support you and love you, whether you're on top of the mountain or whether the mountain is on top of you. And so, my brothers and sisters, as we come to the table of the Lord, remember that God glorifies Christ. He crucifies him. He raises from the dead, and he ascends into heaven. And he asks us to follow after him so that we all can experience the glory of God in the kingdom.